Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. The other day, when I was interviewed by Sargis Sangari, the founder of Near East Center for Strategic Engagement, he asked me a question: will China and Asia fall into chaos after the CCP collapses? Frankly speaking, I was a little surprised by his question, as China will fall into chaos without the CCP is a very well-known narrative crafted by the CCP to brainwash and terrify Chinese people who don't have access to free information. I was a little surprised that people outside China and in the free world would have the same concern that China will fall into chaos without the CCP. So today I'd like to talk about this question. We are living in such a fast-changing world, and it seems that World War III and even nuclear wars could break out at any time. So it is high time that we talk about this too. Will China fall into chaos if the CCP collapses? My quick and loud answer is no, definitely not. Why definitely not? To answer this question, we must ask another one. Who has the ability to create big chaos in China? The correct answer is, other than the CCP, no one else has the ability to create big chaos in China. Imagine this. The CCP's army, the People's Liberation Army, PLA, belongs and listens to the CCP only. The PLA has millions of soldiers. The official number is more than 2 million active soldiers in 2021, and this number is the highest in the entire world. Apart from the soldiers who are supposed to fight against foreign enemies, the CCP has about 2 million former police officers who are used to crack down on its own people. This number is also the largest in the entire world. Apart from the former police, there are still contract police officers, security police, full-time auxiliary police, armed police, official city law enforcement officers, full-time city management enforcement assistants, formal and informal security guards, etc. Look at the quantity of each one of them in this picture. So, the total number of police and security personnel in China has reached 11.2 million, including 3.6 million law enforcement personnel, 2.8 million auxiliary personnel, and 4.8 million security guards. 11.2 million. More than enough for us to call this country a police state. But regardless if it is the army or the police office, they are all the CCP's tools. They all listen to the CCP. So if the CCP collapses, no one will control these soldiers and police forces anymore. Therefore, they won't be able to do grave damage, nor will they have any reason to pick up weapons to fight among themselves or crack down on people. The sole purpose of their existence is to safeguard the CCP's regime. If the CCP is gone, they don't have a reason to exist or function anymore. If we look at the history of the past 73 years of the CCP's rule in China, the most chaotic period is no doubt the Cultural Revolution. All normal social order and legal systems were smashed, people fighting among themselves, and everybody claimed that he or she was defending our great leader, Chairman Mao. But who started the 10 years of chaos of people killing one another in China? It's exactly the CCP's great leader, Chairman Mao. Only the CCP and Mao had the ability to incite that kind of hatred into the Red Guards' minds and make them kill one another to defend their great leader, Chairman Mao. It was estimated that 7 to 20 million people were killed during the Cultural Revolution. Another two events that killed more Chinese people are the Great Chinese Famine and the CCP's one family, one child policy. During the Great Chinese Famine, tens of millions starved to death, and about 400 million unborn babies were killed by the CCP's one family, one child policy. On the surface, the two events didn't create much chaos in society. On the contrary, everything was under tight control, but more people died in a seemingly peaceful period of time. So the point is, the CCP is capable of killing more people in peaceful times. Another kind of anti-humanity crime and mass murder is forced organ harvesting. In the past 2 decades, especially after the persecution of Falun Gong in 1999, the CCP has been killing millions of Falun Gong practitioners, Uyghurs, and other prisoners of conscience so that their organs can be sold for money. This kind of yet-to-be-seen atrocity also happened in seemingly peaceful times. In this sense, the CCP's peaceful time could be more terrifying than chaotic status in other regions or periods of history. We all know that in the spring of 1989, an anti-corruption and pro-democracy movement broke out in Beijing and then spread to many other major cities in China. The movements lasted for months. It started with university students, but later on people from all walks of life, including workers, peasants, teachers, journalists, etc., all participated with much passion. Even thieves stopped stealing to show their support for this movement. For several months, the CCP was not able to make a decision as to what to do with this movement. So the government and the police virtually did nothing. But the students and general public showed a great ability to govern everything themselves. Everything was in perfect order. Nothing had gone wrong because the CCP didn't intervene. Look at the happy faces of the students. At that time, they were full of hope for the future of China. I was a graduate student at Peking University then, just like these beautiful boys and girls. I remember one night, probably before the martial law order was announced, I heard someone encouraging more students to go to Tiananmen to defend the achievements of the movement. He was using the broadcasting system set up by the students to talk. Seeing more and more students flock out of the campus and streaming towards Tiananmen Square like a big tide, I became very much worried that they could be killed by the CCP. So I tried to stop them, but the student who was in charge of the broadcasting system didn't agree to let me use that system. In a desperate effort to make my voice heard, I somehow ran to the official building of Peking University. And Wang Xuezhen, the party secretary of Peking University then, happened to be on duty that night. I asked him whether he could allow me to use the broadcasting system of the university to urge students not to go to Tiananmen that night. He said with much patience and kindness, I suggest you use your own system. If you use the university's official system to avoid your concern, the result could be the opposite. I thought his point was quite reasonable, so I had to give up my effort. By the way, Mr. Wang Xuezhen was pretty much sympathy with the students' movement then, and he has already passed away now. And there was another true story during that movement. One day, someone was making a speech near Xinhuamen of Zhongnanhai, which is the CCP's government compound. And it's not this photo, but something similar. Someone was making a speech with a louder speaker. In order to see the speaker and listen to him more clearly, several people jumped on top of a bicycle. And after the speaker finished talking and these people jumped out of the bicycle, the wheel of the bike was deformed because of the pressure. If this had happened in an ordinary, normal time, the owner of the bicycle would surely pick up a fight with these people and ask them to compensate. However, that day, the owner, a young man, said nothing when he saw his bike was damaged. He silently lifted his bike, put it on his shoulder, and carried it away. So again, the point is, when the CCP was not governing and when the people were governing themselves during that short period of time, nothing had gone wrong, and even the social order was much better. People were helping one another, thieves stopped stealing, and when taxi drivers saw students walking on the street, they often offered to give them a ride. So many moving stories happened then. But of course, in the eyes of the CCP, things had totally gone out of control if they were not in control. That's why they rode tanks into Beijing and killed thousands of students and civilians. Another point to make is, after decades of the tightest rule and control, the CCP has successfully atomized society. Everybody became an isolated and single atom in society. After the CCP is gone, none of these isolated atoms can have enough power to do great damage or create big enough chaos to the Chinese people or the world. On the other hand, I believe Chinese people are smart and rational enough to decide their own future in a peaceful way once the CCP is gone. Chinese people once established the first democratic republic in Asia, the Republic of China, and Taiwan's great success in practicing democracy is strong proof that the Chinese can also practice democracy, and they can do it very well and successfully. And the only obstacle is the CCP. And also, as a matter of fact, the CCP is an illegal foreign regime established inside the legitimate Republic of China. It uses all kinds of rogue tactics to gain and maintain power, and it always claims that history and the people have chosen it. If ever anything has indeed chosen it, this is an absolutely wrong choice and needs to be corrected. Let's check the police and the security force numbers in China again. So no regime can sustain this kind of high pressure in the long run. It has to collapse. And it's only a matter of when and how. So for the government of the world, instead of sitting on the sidelines, waiting and watching passively, they should actively think about how to prevent the CCP's potential insanity to protect its regime, while at the same time thinking about ways to help the Chinese people gain freedom. Well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like my content, please spread my channel and videos or go to my website at jenniferzengblog.com, jenniferzengblog.com. Sign up for a membership or make a donation to show your support. Thank you. See you next time.